Hello everyone, this is John Galt speaking, here with a live stream video for you guys where I'm going to reminisce a little bit about a game that I was going to try to create that got derailed for various different reasons, which we probably won't get into at this time. But the title of this stream is that I'm thinking about restarting an old project. So some of you guys may or may not be aware of that I was a big Tribes 1 player back in the day, okay? And I was addicted to that game, and I played it for years, and then Tribes 2 came out, and I played that for years. And then I kind of quit playing video games altogether because life happens. And then I kind of played Tribes Ascend for a little bit. And then I played Firefall, a game called Firefall, for a bit. And somewhere in between here and there and everywhere, I got into game dev, started being able to use UDK back in the day. That's what I actually started tinkering with, was UDK, which was technically Unreal Engine 3, I guess is what it was. Then I kind of got into Unreal Engine 4, and I dabbled with it for a long time. And I started a game, started creating my own game. And during the process of creating my own game, I started selling some of the assets that I created for my game on the UE4 marketplace. Some various templates that I had created. And then a big, huge controversy ensued. And I pulled those assets that I had created for the marketplace off the marketplace. And whenever all that happened, it kind of took the wind out of my sails. In other words, I was very disheartened that happened. And hindsight being 2020, there's probably quite a few things that I could have did differently to have prevented that big, huge controversy from taking place. But nonetheless, it did. And when it did, once again, it kind of destroyed my motivation to continue with the game that I was envisioning creating. And then I created some new templates and put on the marketplace using some of the same concepts that I had used in some of the other stuff that I pulled from the marketplace. And those have been on the marketplace for sale ever since. And I also done a lot of contract work, private tutoring, private mentoring. I created a Udemy course that's still for sale to this day on the Udemy market for a tutorial series, about 40 hours worth of tutorial. Then Unreal Engine 5 came out, which I'm not a huge fan of, by the way, and I'm still not a huge fan of. But whatever, it is what it is. And then some other things happened, private things happened to me, which also kind of killed my motivation for creating my own game or doing any other stuff in this engine, any private tutoring or any of that. I kind of just quit everything, cold turkey. And then I've been, here and there, I've been posting a video, been answering a few questions, been, kind of trying to stay relevant, if you will, quote unquote relevant. And so I've decided that I may reboot my vision of a game and actually create something. Okay. I may make it into a template, which will be for sale on the UE4 marketplace, potentially. Or this may be a template that I sell myself personally. In other words, the only way that you would be able to get it would be to get it directly from me. Okay. And there's a lot of reasons for that, which we may or may not go into. I don't know, as this process ensues. But what I wanted to do in today's live stream is kind of go through some of the things that I liked about all these games that I played, and maybe talk about what the vision would be if I was to choose to go this route again from ground zero, by the way, start all over again. What I would envision as wanting to create as a game. And so I guess we're going to be looking at some gameplay, right? We're going to be looking at some gameplay from Tribes 1, Tribes 2, and Tribes Ascend. We're going to be looking at some Firefall gameplay. We will probably talk about another route that I was going to try to go at one point and then decided against that. So yeah, I mean, you guys are welcome to hang out here. I do have chat open, by the way. So if any of you guys have any questions or anything like that, there's probably not going to be very much game dev in this video. Maybe some concepts, maybe talk about some concepts and stuff like that, but I'm probably not going to be building anything in this live stream. Now, another thing that I would like to mention is, will I or will I not actually try to create another tutorial series? You know, there's a lot of people that have bought my Udemy course that love it, by the way. It's pretty good rated. I've had very few people that have bought it that didn't like it. Some did, some didn't like it, but most, well, I could just show you this, right? So let's just do that. Let's go talk about that for a little bit. So this live stream is probably just going to be a lot of rambling. That's really all it's probably going to be. So if you're not down with the rambling, you probably ain't going to like this stream very much. Okay. So this is the course that I'm referring to. And, you know, it's basically called Unreal Engine 4 Multiplayer Team-Based FPS in Blueprints. And there's 40 hours of this that covers all different kinds of aspects. Everything from animation creation, animation modification, multiplayer concepts, team concepts, weapon concepts. I mean, it talks about a whole bunch of stuff. I tried to spread out. It's not a how can I say this, right? So it's not like any tutorial that you guys have probably ever taken or watched. My content is a lot different than most. It's not very structured, meaning we build things as we need them, right? We don't pre-create a bunch of assets. We don't pre-create a bunch of blueprints. We don't try to integrate templates. We literally, okay, so we got the engine open. Now what are we going to do first, right? And then we tackle things step by step by step. There's also a lot of talk about debugging in it, how I figure out how, okay, well, this don't work. Why don't it work? Well, this kind of works, but I think it could work better. And we go back and recreate it and change things around a little bit. So it's not like watching an Unreal Engine 4 tutorial on their Twitch stream, by no means, right? I have never really gotten anything from those kind of tutorials. I just haven't, never have. They're confusing, the way that they try to show you how to do things, the way that they talk, the terminology that they use is over most people's heads. Nobody knows what the hell they're talking about. And I don't do that, right? We break it down and keep it simple, stupid. That's exactly what we do. And so it's a good tutorial. And as you can see here, it's got a 4.9 rating. So each one of these is a customer. So 168 people have purchased this. 56 of those people have written reviews of this. And out of those 56 people, it's got a 4.9. So I think that's pretty good. I'm proud of this tutorial, and you do learn a lot of stuff by watching it. The first 5 of those videos are free, right? So you can either watch them on Udemy for free, or they're on my YouTube page in a playlist for free. The very first 5 videos I gave away in that series for free to let people kind of see the way that I go about showing people how to do things in the engine. Okay. So it's kind of like a preview. You watch those 5 videos, you like the way that I do things, you like the way that I explain things. Well, then all the rest of the videos are that same format. So that's why I did that. Okay. So anyway, the reason that I'm mentioning this is because a lot of people have asked me if I would be doing another tutorial series or adding on to this tutorial series. Well, as you guys know, we've had an engine change between when this tutorial was made and now, right? So this is Unreal Engine 4, and we are now in Unreal Engine 5. But know this, okay? If you don't know anything, know this. All the concepts that are covered and talked about in this tutorial series also apply to Unreal Engine 5, right? The biggest thing that changed with Unreal Engine 5 is the visuals, right? Where's this button located? Where's that button located? But the general concepts that are covered in this are still applicable to Unreal Engine 5. Okay? Now, another thing that I would like to make perfectly clear here is in this tutorial series, I used Unreal Engine 4.13. Okay? There's a very specific reason for that. And that is that from 4.15 forward, I think if I said 4.13, I meant 4.15. Okay? From 4.16 forward, the multiplayer side of the engine in blueprints started degrading pretty significantly. Okay. And I will tell you guys that if and when I do start this new project that I'm contemplating, reviving an old project, starting a new project, it will be in Unreal Engine 4.15, at least initially. Okay. And it's for that very same reason. Even in Unreal Engine 5, the latest version, 5.1, there is still a lot of the multiplayer side of that engine that's flaky, laggy, less efficient than it was previously. A perfect example of that is the integrated Steam functionality in Unreal Engine 5 don't even work anymore. Okay. They may or may not even fix that. Okay. So there's that. And so if I do a new tutorial series, it's likely not going to be in Unreal Engine 5 for that very reason. Because if I'm going to do this, it's going to be able to be a finalized finished product that I will be able to sell, right? Sell it as a template, or sell it as a game. Well, I'm not going to go through and put all this work in for a mediocre project, right? Meaning, oh, well, it kind of works, but the Steam stuff's broke, right? And it's broke because of what they did to the engine, not what I did. So there's a lot to consider when it comes to that. So I'm not decided if I will make a new tutorial series, but I can tell you this. If I do make a new tutorial series, it will not be a freebie, okay? It will be a paid to access only tutorial. Now, whether that means that it ends up on Udemy as this one, a new one on Udemy, I don't know. Or whether it will be the way the template would be, which would be the only way you would get it would be directly from me. So in other words, if I create a tutorial series, the way you may get it is make a contribution to my YouTube page in a certain amount. And when you do that, I will give you access to all the videos that I create for this. Okay. All right. And then I guess maybe the final thing that I'll say about this is this. I do not pre-record videos generally. Meaning most of the time that I do this, it's live. It's not edited. We don't cut out mistakes, right? I let you guys see me make mistakes, and I let you guys see how I go about solving the mistakes or finding the mistakes. It does no one no good, I don't believe. If you're serious about learning how to do this stuff, it does no one no good to just watch somebody click a bunch of buttons, right? You don't know how to troubleshoot. You don't know how to find problems. You don't know how to make things more efficient. And people who make these tutorials, generally, they cut all that out. Well, in my personal opinion, when you get done with that tutorial series, you're a half-ass game dev. Oh, okay. Well, as long as everything goes exactly the way that it did in that tutorial, it's great. But if anything goes wrong or you want to tweak or modify something to be a little different, you don't know where to begin, right? Because all you did was, oh, he clicked that button. Well, let me click that button. Oh, he clicked that button. Well, let me click that button. Wait a minute. My shit didn't work. Let me give me a drink here. Sorry. Holy crap. There's also cussing in my videos, right? Sometimes I'm forced to cuss the engine out. So there's that. Okay. All right. I haven't made these videos very much. And if you guys don't know, right, I live alone. Nobody lives here with me. And I don't talk very much, right? When I was making these videos, I used to talk for hours and hours and hours. Well, I don't do that. And so now if I talk a lot, I get choked up, right? I get a bug in my throat and I have to, basically die, essentially. Okay, so let me bring Chad over here. Hello, Mr. Ripper Junkie. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing good. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. Watching that video of me playing guitar and singing, yes. That is me, for anyone who, really wants to see what I actually look like. There is a video of me playing guitar. I wouldn't call it singing, right? Because it's pretty terrible, actually. But at one point in time, I was a fairly decent guitarist. And so that video is on my YouTube page. And yes, I'm okay. I have to calm down and not talk as much as I used to. Okay. Okay. So with that, we're going to kind of get started. Now I'll probably mute these videos, just so I don't get copyright strikes, but we're just going to kind of watch some of the gameplay from Tribes 1, right? So this is the very first, video game on a PC that I was actually, you could say, addicted to. Okay. It's not the first game that I ever played, right? You guys got to remember I'm old. So I was playing Atari 2600, right, in the early 80s. So it's not the first game that I played. It's not the first game that I liked, but it is the first PC game that I was actually addicted to. Okay. And this was a PvP game, obviously. And it had several different modes of PvP, but the main mode that I played and my friends played was Capture the Flag, right? And I liked the sci-fi theme of this game, right? I loved the jetpack aspect of this game where you could just fly around like crazy. There was also a bug in the game, which is called skiing, which is where you could repeatedly mash the jump button and you would continue to gain speed. Is it going to be this kind of day, really? Am I just going to have to die? I hope not. Okay. Maybe I'll try not to talk as loud. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. So each team had a base, right? You had it wasn't red team and blue team. It was like Diamond Sword versus Blood Eagle, right? So it was still teams, but they didn't use red and blue. They had names for the teams. And you had these inventory stations you went in. You had 3 sets of armor that you could be, right? So you could be light armor, you could be medium armor, and then you could be a heavy. Each one of those could carry more weapons, right? So a light character was quick and nimble, but he couldn't carry very many weapons. A medium was a little bit slower, a little bit less nimble, and he could carry a couple more weapons and take a little bit more damage. And then you had the heavy class, which, see right here, if I pause this video, you can see that this is the light class. So all you got was 3 weapons as a light. But, oh, and you died very easily, meaning you didn't have very much health, but you could fly longer, and you were quicker with your ground movements, and you were more nimble, but you could only carry a couple weapons. And there was a lot to this game, right? So in these inventory stations, you could get, like, let me pause it here, okay? So this is the menu that you had. So this is the things over here that you could quote unquote buy, which really you didn't buy it because there was no money in the game. You didn't earn credits or none of that stuff. It was just, for whatever reason, this is the terminology that they used, was buy, okay? And this over here was, you know, okay, so this is what I've got, and you could get rid of some of this and you could change it out with things over here. So you can see here that these characters had these things called backpacks, and you had energy pack. Well, what did that do? Well, really all that did was give you more flight juice, right? So you could fly more. Repair pack, well, what did that do? Well, this thing had destructible objects in it. As you can see right here, this station is blown up, meaning it don't work, right? It's inoperable. And so you could use this repair pack, and you could walk over to this thing and you could repair it and it would fix it. Okay. Then you had a shield pack. I mean, these are self-explanatory. You had a shield pack that gave you the ability to take a little more damage, right? And then you had a sensor jammer, and then you had an ammo pack. And then you had these things called deployables, right? So I think only mediums and heavies could get these. And you could set out mobile inventory stations, right? So you could put one of these anywhere in the game that you wanted to. And ammo stations, and motion sensors, and pulse sensors, and cameras, and turrets, right? Auto turrets. You could deploy turrets that when an enemy would get near it, it would sense that enemy and start shooting at him. Provided, you know, they wasn't running a sensor jammer pack, because if they had a sensor jammer pack and they activated that backpack, it would make these things not sense them. You also had these things that you could deploy, right? So you had landmines that you could throw out, and if an enemy got near that landmine, it would auto detonate and blow up and likely kill them. You had grenades that you could throw, okay? You had beacons that you could throw. So there was a lot to this game. Now, also another thing that I would like to mention is, let me go ahead and get the gameplay started again. Each one of the bases had a generator, okay? The generator is what allowed those stations to work, right? So if your generator got destroyed, you see this auto turret here that's shooting at the enemies and stuff? If your generator was destroyed, even if this was still operational, it wouldn't work, right? Because it didn't have no power. So you actually had to defend your base. You had to have players on your team that were willing to make sure that the generator was always up and operational so that the rest of the team could access those terminals to get the things they needed in order to go out and blow the shit out of the enemy. You also had people on your team that had to make sure that, they set some auto turrets out here to help defend where the flag's at. Set landmines out, right? You also had players that had to be trying to go to the enemy's base and blow shit up. You also had players on your team that had to go to the enemy's base and try to snatch the flag and get it back to your base, right? So there was a lot to do in this game. There was a lot to do. So even though the core foundation of this game was capture the flag, it was far more than simply running back and forth and grabbing flags, right? If your team didn't work together as a team to keep the base operational, keep the flag defended, chase down anyone who managed to get the flag, have your team work together to go over there and try to blow up their shit so that you could weaken their defenses so that you could get their flag, you didn't win. It took a whole team working together to get a match won, right? So that's what I really was addicted to in this game. It wasn't capture the flag, it was the teamwork aspect of the game. This is the kind of game that you and your friends could play. And of course, now there's lots of voice over IP that you can use. But back in the day, we only had this one program called Roger Wilco, and it worked like an internet CB radio, right? One person would mash the button and he could talk and the others would hear, and it was like a CB. And so this is the kind of game that you and your friends could play, and you could talk to each other and work out strategies, right? So let me give me a drink. Anyway, you had to work together as a team, okay? And that's what I liked about it. And, well, that's just what I liked about it, okay? And I played this for years, by the way. And the only reason that I quit playing this is because the second version of this came out, okay? And so with that, we're going to go ahead and close this. Oh, and there was vehicles in this game too, by the way. Right? Let's see if I can actually bring some of them up. Of course, I probably spelt that wrong. Yeah, of course I did. Well, I won't be able to find just specifically those because this game is so old. This is in 1998, I believe, is when this game came out. 1998. So that's old. But I believe there were 3 types of vehicles in this game. Okay. You had I think it was called an APC, which you had one driver, and you could load on some of your teammates and you would fly it over to the enemy base. It was kind of like a hovercraft, but not really. It was an aerial vehicle, but it carried passengers. And so you could get your team, like say, okay, guys, I'm going to drive. Y'all get on. And they would all jump on, and I'd drive them over to the enemy base. And when we get over there, they'd bail out, try to go blow the shit out of their base, get the flag, and then I'd hide somewhere off in the distance, and then they would tell me on that little CB, hey, we got the flag, meet us at the back entrance. And I'd fly that thing around there and try to pick them up and fly them back over to our base. And then there was a one-person vehicle right? That was an aerial vehicle that you could fly. It was quick and nimble, and you could shoot missiles off of it. And then I think there was one more kind, but it had vehicles in it, is the point. Okay. And so then Tribes 2 came out, right? So when Tribes 2 came out, that's kind of when I quit playing Tribes 1 and I started playing Tribes 2, which is essentially the exact same concept as the first one, with the difference being mainly that it got a graphics update, right? So it looked better. So as you can see here, you can see that, oh yeah, this still looks like ass. But if you compare this to the first one, right? Compare this to the first Tribes, this one looks significantly better. Okay. And so it's essentially the same concept. It was capture the flag, right? You still had your light, medium, and heavy. They introduced some new weaponry, right? So you had different types of weapons that you could use compared to the first one. But essentially, it was still capture the flag. You still had generators. You still had inventory stations that could be destroyed. So it was essentially Tribes 1 with a facelift, essentially. Now, I probably won't get into the controversy about why at this point in the Tribes game, this is when a split happened. So everybody wants to know what killed Tribes. Like, why, if this was such a hot game and it was so awesome, why did it die? Right? Why is there not a Tribes 4, a Tribes 5? And everybody assumes that the reason that occurred is because nobody likes these kinds of games anymore, right? You've got Fortnite. Nobody would play a Tribes 5 because Fortnite exists. And that's simply not what killed this game. What killed this game is that it took a lot of skill in order to be good at this game. Okay? This ain't a spray and pray kind of game. It took teamwork, and if you didn't have teamwork, you didn't succeed. It also took a lot of gameplay in order to get a feel for the mechanics. Like how in the hell do you aim when you're going so fast? How the hell do you aim, when you're bouncing around with these jetpacks and shit? So the people that played Tribes 1 got really good. Their skill level was insane, right? Their precision. Well, when Tribes 2 came out, with it being a graphic facelift, not only that, it was a completely different engine that they used to create this one, okay? And so the mechanics changed. The feel of the game changed. In other words, people that were really, really good at Tribes 1 struggled to adapt to Tribes 2 because the feel of the game was different. The twitch of the game was different. So in other words, you couldn't hit shit and you got your ass shot off, even if you were a top tier player in Tribes 1, right? You got your ass shot off and you wasn't worth a damn in Tribes 2. Because all that time, effort, and energy you put into getting good at Tribes 1, you had to relearn that twitchiness and that feel all over again when you started playing Tribes 2. So what happened was there was a large portion of the community that stayed playing Tribes 1. And then some went to Tribes 2. And so the community split. Say you had 100,000 active players, right, in Tribes 1. Well, when Tribes 2 came out, you may have had 50% kept playing Tribes 1 because they didn't want to put the effort in to learn the new mechanics of Tribes 2. So the community split. Okay. Then come along a high-res game called Tribes Ascend. Okay. And so let me go ahead and mute this and I'll make this full screen here. So when high-res came out with Tribes Ascend, it's essentially the same game, right? It's still capture the flag. You've still got enemy. You still got two bases. One's red team, one's blue team. The bases still have generators. There's still things to defend, et cetera, et cetera. But it got a brand new engine yet again. Okay. And of course, all the mechanics changed again, which means if you were really good at Tribes 2, you wasn't worth a single damn in Tribes Ascend. So then the community split yet again. Compound that with the fact that Hi-Rez made this game and they are pay to win like you wouldn't believe. So people who played this game for free had a very big disadvantage to those who bought Tribes Gold and bought different classes and unlocked different weaponry and all that stuff. So you guys know the deal that happened there, right? It was pay to win. If you didn't buy all the shiny shit, you couldn't compete because you got your ass shot off. So that's what actually killed the Tribes genre, and that's why we do not have a Tribes to this day. Okay. The money people, right? The guys that say, hey, I'm going to invest this many millions of dollars into creating this game and I expect this much money in return. Well, how are you going to make me my money? Well, Hi-Rez chose to make it pay to win, and that killed the game. Okay. So there is that. Now let me bring chat over here. I see some of you guys over here. I do have chat open. Let's see here. Holy moly. Yes, I'm okay. Yes, I'm drinking some water here, but it's still choking me out because I don't talk very much anymore. Let's see. I've been watching lots of videos from a YouTube channel called Code Blue Cam, which pretty much stands for cops going after thieves. There's no violence. Ripper Junkie says, oh, that looks cool. Yes, I thought it was a very cool game. I am drinking water. Emery Plumber. Hello, Emery. Welcome to the channel. I think if you modernize Tribes with gameplay like Warframe, when you're in, well, I've never played Warframe, so I would actually have to go look that up. But I want to say this here and be perfectly clear. I'm not trying to remake Tribes. A Tribes-like game with my personal spin on how I would like it to play, absolutely. But I do not believe it is worth trying to recreate games that have already existed. Okay? You would just play the original game, if you could. Right now, you can still play Tribes 1, 2, and Ascend, believe it or not. You can still play those games. So what I would be trying to do would not be trying to recreate a game per se, but it would have a lot of similarities with those games, okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into Firefall here. Ripper Junkie, so are you planning to remake this old game? I'm planning to reboot my vision of a game that I was creating back in the day, which if you missed the first part of this video, I talk a little bit about that, right? The whole jetpack animation fiasco that I went through. And I actually had almost a completed game ready to go. And then that happened and I just scrapped the whole thing. Okay. So it's kind of like I'm thinking about rebooting my vision of where I was going with that. Okay. Can I get you to check out Section 8 Prejudice? It is probably the closest you can get to Tribes. I think I've actually looked at that before, Emery. I think I have. And I may actually look at it again. Maybe not on this stream, but I may look at it again because I do remember looking at that. Okay. It died because Hi-Rez is a terrible game studio. You're absolutely correct. right? They're in it, clearly they're in the game industry to make millions and millions of dollars as quickly as possible, which is the very reason why any game that has any success whatsoever, they create a clone of that game. Overwatch, Paladins, right? League of Legends, Smite, right? You guys see a pattern? Yes, absolutely. So yes, they are a terrible game studio. Let's see. Yeah, that's a smarter idea, especially because you would have to modernize it to modern controls and feel. Okay, so with that, we are now going to talk a little bit about Firefall, which some people are unaware of this, but the lead game designer for Tribes 1 and 2 was also the lead game designer for this game called Firefall. And that guy's name was Scott Youngblood. Okay. And so I knew Scott Youngblood, not personally, but I knew him from the Tribes community. And so somehow or another, I found out that he was actually involved in the creation of this game. And when I found that out, I went and checked this game out. Okay. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to play a little bit of this here, and we'll talk about the similarities between this and Tribes. Okay. So this game is actually a PvE mostly game, open world, right? So you can see that there is this character here, which is an assault class. And then Cornboy, actually, this is Scott Youngblood in game right here. That was his handle, Cornboy. Okay. So this game is also sci-fi themed. This game is also jetpacks, as you can see here. They're flying around. But it's mainly PvE. It is a resource gathering game where you can see they just called in what's called a thumper. And this thing comes in and lands here, and then it's mining resources, right? So if you look up, you can see this thing coming in. And then when it lands, it's like a big drill, okay? So when it starts running, it pisses off the wildlife in this area. And so it runs for a duration, I think it was 5 minutes. And during that time, it's gathering resources, which you would accumulate various different resources, and you could craft, right, new gear for your battle frames. You could make better guns, as an example. You could make better jump jets, as an example. So in Tribes, where you saw that you could get what was called a backpack, right? You could buy an energy pack and it would give you more energy. Well, in this game, you didn't do that. Instead, you gathered these resources and you would craft yourself better jump jets if you wanted to fly better. You would craft better weapons if you wanted more powerful weapons or AoE, right? So kind of the same concept. The difference is they took the acquiring gear and the changing out of gear. They took it to, you had to gather these resources, go to a printer, and you would pick out what battle frame you were wearing, and you could make 2, 3, 4 different kinds of guns. And depending on the quality of the resources that you acquired would determine the output of the weapon. So in other words, if you had better quality resources, you would get a higher power weapon if you built one from said resources. Okay. Now this game, you had 5 classes of battle frames. You had assault, recon, biotech, and dreadnought. Right? Is that 5? Assault, biotech, engineer, recon, and juggernaut, right? Dreadnought. And each of those was designed for different style of gameplay. As you can imagine, a recon would be like a light in Tribes. Quick, nimble, could fly a lot, right? But was low health, right? Couldn't take very much damage. Carried completely different weaponry, like sniper rifles as an example. Then you had assault classes, which was kind of like a mid-range type class. That's an assault that's being played right there, by the way. Then you had a biotech, which was kind of like your healer type class. And then you had the engineer, which was your, think of him as a healer, but for mechanical stuff, not people. So in other words, he could set out turrets to help defend that little machine they just sent up. Okay. And there's what I'm talking about. You also had drops in this game that you could get, right? So not only could you craft your gear, sometimes when you would kill something, it would drop a piece of gear that you could pick up and collect. Okay. All right. And this, once again, was more of a co-op game. It had PvP, but that ain't why people played this. They played this for the team aspect. You get a group of your buddies together, and you all go wander around in this big open world and find shit to get into, right? See, like this guy driving around here, this guy, and then that group that was just running that thumper, they all got in this thing and they're getting taken to a different part of the map. And you also had wildlife in this game that just wandered around, right? That you had enemies. See, that sniper just shot at these guys. Those are the bad guys. They're all AI though. Okay. So that's why I said it's PvE. It's AI. And you had this big open world, and all through this world, you had different things that you could do. You could go into caves as an example, and there'd be little missions inside those caves that you could do. Not very complex missions, mind you, but missions nonetheless. Okay. And it was fun just to get with your buddies and go wander around and blow the shit out of stuff. Get a group together and you all go out and mine resources so that you all could build new gear and new weapons for your guns and stuff, new modules and stuff. So I played this game for quite some time, and the reason that this game died was for a couple reasons. One, they couldn't ever get enough funding because they constantly kept rebuilding this game over and over and over again. They couldn't figure out a proper way to monetize this game without it being pay to win. They got bought out by the Nine, right? So if you guys don't know who the Nine is, it's a Chinese company that buys up all kinds of gaming studios and other things. And so that's part of the reason that it died. The Chinese bought it and wanted it to go this way, and it didn't work in America the way that they think they could get it to work over in the Asian market. And so that's another reason it died. Mismanagement, right? So they had a lot of Peckerwoods in charge of, they had too many chiefs and not enough Indians. So there was a lot of reasons it died, but overall it was a pretty fun game to play. Which then brings us to a game called Ember. Okay, now some of you guys have heard me talk about this game before. At one point in time, I was going to be part of the dev team creating this game. The same guy that was quote unquote in charge of Red 5 Studios, Mark Kern, is the guy that's trying to create this game called Ember. I stepped away from this game and did not want to participate in the creation of this game, the development of this game, anything to do with this game, because the creator of Firefall, Mr. Mark Kern, turns out that this game is he's selling this game to his audience, if you will, as a recreation of the game called Firefall. His quote unquote true vision of what he wanted Firefall to be. Well, at some point during that, in my personal opinion, he changed his mind, and now this game is being catered more towards the, well, if you look at these pictures here, right, you see these pictures, you can see who he's catering to, right? So it's anime porn with jetpacks is what it's turning into, okay? And so I stepped away from it. Not only that, the fact that, you know, he's selling founder packs, expansion packs, custom skin packs, this, that, and the other. And he's collecting all this money to fund the creation of this game. And he don't even have a fourth of a game yet. And it's been, I think this project started in 2016. It may have been 2017. But regardless of that, it's been many, many, many years. And there's still barely anything that you could even call a game. But yet, every other month, he comes out with some new drawing that someone made, some new porno chick character, right? That's drawn with concept art, meaning it ain't even a model in the game. It's just, hey, let me draw you a picture. If you guys want to be able to access this skin whenever the game comes out, buy this founder pack, become a member of this Patreon, etc., etc. So in other words, it sounds to me like it's just a big money scam at this point, and he's creating all this concept art to cater to the anime porn pervs and drawing money from them, which it don't make any sense to me why he's doing that, because when he got fired from Red 5 Studios, I'm sure he left with what's called a golden parachute, meaning he left with a shitload of money, millions of dollars probably. And now he's nickel and diming this community, promising them that he's going to create this Firefall type game, okay? And all he's really got is some porno anime pictures that he's selling access to, okay? So that's why I stepped away from the whole Ember thing, okay? And just to be fair here, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some gameplay that he has available that you can look at. So I'm going to mute this, and you guys can see kind of what he's got so far. And remember that this project started in about 2016 or 2017. So how many years is that ago? And keep in mind how many hundreds of thousands of dollars he's likely collected from selling these founder packs and these porno skin sketches. And this is what we have, or what he has, right? So I'm just going to kind of let this play and you guys can look at this. Keep in mind how many years it's been, and keep in mind how much money he's collected, and this is what he has. Okay, so just keep that in mind as you're kind of watching this. Fast forward it just a little bit here. Kind of being quiet here to let my voice relax a little bit. Okay. So I think that is probably all I'm going to let that play there. Okay. All right. And so with that, now let's talk a little bit about what I think I'm up to. Okay. So I think what we're going to do, let me bring Chad over here and get caught up. So, Ripper Jerky, LOL. Oh my God. 5 years at least. Yes, that's probably about 5 years. That looks like something you can make in a few weeks. It is. And it is. Ripper Junkie looks like prototypes, and Emery, it doesn't look bad though. And hello, Mr. Oni. So no, it don't look bad, but here's what I think. Okay, and I'm not gonna, I don't want to bash anybody, right? So don't think that I'm out trying to prove anything here. And also don't think that I just like going around bashing and bad mouthing people, because that's not me. That's not how I roll. But I do want to say this, okay? For the amount of money that he's collected to fund that game, for the amount of time that has passed, right? There should be far more of a completed game than what we see. I'll just say that, and then I will leave it at that. Okay? Okay. So, what are we going to do now? Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to go look at some of the past projects that I have, and we're going to talk a little bit about what I think I may do and that kind of stuff, okay? So, in other words, put your money where your mouth is kind of thing. Okay. So what I would like to do is start out with one of the first templates that I put on the UE4 marketplace. Now this is going to be controversial. Okay. And this is not for sale anymore because of that controversy. So I created this thing called Jetpack Animation. I created these jetpack animations. And I created a template to go with these animations called Jetpack FPS Basic. Okay. So we're actually going to go ahead and create a version of this. And we're going to talk about this a little bit, because the reason that these animations exist and the reason that this template exists is because I was in the process of creating a tribes-like game, okay? And then the controversy ensued, and I ended up pulling these products off the marketplace. So I mentioned this in the first of this stream. I pulled these products off the UE4 marketplace because of that controversy, and at the same time, it killed every single bit of motivation I had in creating that game, okay? And I will say this, okay? So when you put the amount of work, research and development and work into creating something like this, for it to end up causing the controversy that it did, and you being accused of being a thief, okay, when you had plenty of proof to prove that you weren't, but they refused to accept that proof, it kind of destroys your motivation, right? So that's why this exists, and that is also why I did not complete the game that I was working on. Some of you guys that have been around here for a while, you will remember how far I had went and how close I was to having a completed game. You guys remember? Remember? I used to show video of it, remember? Remember? Had the grab cycle already in game, remember? Created the grab cycle, right? Had all these different classes, and all these different classes had different weapons and abilities. Had generators in the game that were destructible, that powered these stations and stuff. You guys remember. You remember all that, okay? And all that got destroyed because of the only thing I can think of is jealousy, right? That is the only thing I can think of that caused all that controversy to happen was jealousy. Simple as that. So I'm going to go ahead and spawn in here. Maybe we'll make this full screen. Okay. And so this is the little template that I put together during the creation of said game. And this is a first and third person, right? So you mash your middle mouse button here, and you can play in either third person or you can play in first person, okay? This has jetpacks, as you can see, Tribes jetpacks, Firefall jetpacks, okay? This has melee, not melee combat, but basically just a simple melee strike. This has a primary and a secondary weapon that you can switch between. This has a grenade throw. And this has an ability, right? So watch how fast he goes when I mash shift. Right? And then you have a countdown timer for it to recharge. Okay. This also puts your weapon down when you get up to the wall. See there? So it doesn't let you stick your weapon through the walls. See that? This has a plasma type gun that explodes. This has a hit scan assault rifle. And it has pickups, right? So when you run out of ammo, you can pick up more. 2 different types of ammo, by the way. One's explosive and one's bullet. And then, of course, you have these little health packs. So this was the core foundation, right? The core foundation of the game that I was creating. Now, the game that I was creating, there was a lot more to it than just this. That's why this is called Jetpack FPS Basic. This is the basic guts of that project. I decided to help fund the creation of my game, right? I was going to sell bits and pieces of the game on the UE4 marketplace, meaning this template and all those animations that I created, okay? Now, the controversy that ensued, I'm not going to get real deep into the controversy, but the accusation was that all these animations that I'm using in this template and that I was selling are stolen animations out of the Tribes game. That was the accusation. Okay, now, a normal animator, someone who does animation for a living, has these things called source files. Right? Source files. I am not an animator. I created these animations in Engine. Okay? I did not use an animation program to make these animations. I created these animations in the engine. So when the accusation was made that these animations were stolen, the first thing that they asked me for was to supply them the source files. There were no source files. I sent them video after video of the real, quote unquote, real Tribes animations and had them compare the two. Okay. Look at their animation. Now look at this animation. It was still not enough of an acceptable reason for them to take my word for it that these were not stolen. What they could have easily done and refused to do was contact Hi-Rez and say, hey, Hi-Rez, can you send me one of your original Tribes animations? We've got this guy, this John Galt guy, who's selling these animations on the on our marketplace, and they look a lot like your animations. So can you send us a real one so that we can compare them and make sure that this guy's not stealing your animations? They didn't do that. They wouldn't do that. And I couldn't get them to do that. So I pulled all my assets off the marketplace. That's what happened. Okay. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. Everybody can take what they want and believe what they want. These animations were created by me in Engine. I did not steal these animations out of a Tribes game. However, these animations are based on the Tribes Ascend animations. Being based on the animations and actually being the animations are two completely different things, right? But anyway, whatever. That's neither here nor there, okay? So I just wanted to show you guys this project, okay? Okay. So now what I'm going to do, well, the first thing I'm going to do is learn how to operate the engine, okay? So I couldn't get it to cooperate. Okay, so there's that project. And it crashed. Of course it did. So the next thing I want to do, let me get caught up on chat. Let's see. You were like 20% responsible for the reaction by the other party, if I remember correctly. What they did was in no way fair or just. So I do agree that part of the reason that I had to do what I did and they had to do what they did was because I did not take the proper precautions in order to be able to protect myself by having source files would be a good example. But when you're not an animator, right? I made them in the engine. My bad, but whatever. Once again, it is what it is. And hello, I think that's Hell Monkey. Sorry I ain't been around. Well, I ain't been around, so you didn't miss much, dude. This is the first live stream that I've actually done in quite a while, okay? Okay. So the next thing that I want to talk about here is some of the current projects that I have on the UE4 marketplace. Okay. Now I'm not going to rehash out all these projects that I have. There is one project specifically that I want to refer to, which is this TPS, this multiplayer TPS basic, not to be confused with this piece of shit that I've shit on for I don't know how many times. Mine's actually a good one. Don't buy this one. Buy this one. So I'm going to create this project here, and we're going to talk a little bit about this project, and then maybe we will talk a little bit more about whether or not maybe I will, maybe I won't revive this project, some pros and cons, what may happen, what may not happen, etc. Okay? Let me get me a drink here before I start a hacking spree again. Oh. So then we have this project here, which I'm very proud of, by the way, and it is available on the UE4 marketplace for $19.99. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and pop in here, and we're going to play this a little bit. Okay. This is multiplayer too, by the way. So let's go in here and let's dick around with this a little bit. Oh, I'm compiling shaders and you don't want me to. Well, anyway, whatever. I don't know how to make this full screen anymore. Was it Shift F11? Hell, I don't know. Okay. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. There it is. Shift F11. But it didn't. No, maybe it ain't. Maybe it's control. It's control F11. There we go. Okay, so that template that I just shit on, the other third-person multiplayer template that I just shit on, that is the reason that this template exists. I think Epic gave that other one away for free during the free monthly content or whatever, and I got it for free just to see what it was like, and it's the biggest piece of crap that I've ever seen in my life, right? It don't even work, literally. So I created a template similar to that one so that there would be a decent third-person shooter template on the UE4 marketplace that people could actually start from or learn from that's operational and functional. And so this is a 5-person co-op style template with AI, okay? And so this character has 3 weapons that he carries, right? So he's got a primary weapon, a secondary weapon, and a heavy weapon. Okay, so he carries 3 weapons. And then this character also has the ability to switch to different weapons, right? So you can see there's a sniper rifle laying here. There's a shotgun laying here. There's a plasma gun laying here, grenade launcher, and you can press and hold the button to switch them, right? And so now he's got a grenade launcher. See that? And then you can use the default weapon, right? And you can change that default weapon, which is your primary. You can pick up a different primary weapon. Okay, and so you see how this weapon, you got a scope, right? So you can zoom in, and it's just a little hit scan sniper rifle. Okay, and so you got a different secondary weapon, okay? And these can be any mix match in between, so you can use those. You got pickups, same as that other template, right? So you got explosive pickups, you've got bullets, and you've got health, okay? And then this character has got a basic set of movement, right? So he can crouch. He's got crouch movement, right? So it's nothing fancy when it comes to the movement. He can sprint and jump, okay? But the main thing about this is that it has AI, right? And it has some turrets in it. So you can go up here and there's actually AI that will kill you, okay? And you can fight this AI, right? So it's shooting, strafing AI. There's an auto turret in there, right? And they're not stupid either. They actually, these AI are actually dangerous, okay? They do all different kinds of movements. They have to reload. They got different weapons. They got sniper rifle. They got the same weapons that you can pick up on that crate. And they're good, right? So they're pretty complex AI. And they just wander around at random, and then when you get in a certain distance to them, they will actually track, aim, and shoot at you. Okay? Okay. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and back out of that. Okay? All right. So let me bring Chad over here and get caught up. What you are doing now is trashing someone's project. And this is what got that other, what is that, Devil 5, to file a false report. I don't know, it may have been, but look, when something is advertised to be something, it's supposed to be that, okay? So me trashing that guy's template is not because I don't like the way he made it. It is because it literally does not fucking work and never has. That's the difference. I'm not saying I did mine better because his wasn't good enough. I'm saying I did mine because his literally does not even function. Okay? So there's a difference there. Just to say that. Like, it don't even work. He created, okay. And while we're on this subject, and I'm not trying to defend myself here, and once again, you guys can think whatever you want to think. That guy literally followed a tutorial on the internet that's freely available, right? It's freely available, and he followed that tutorial and put it on the UE4 marketplace for sale. Then the people on the UE4 marketplace wanted it to be multiplayer, and he went inside that and tried to jerry rig it to be multiplayer. And of course, when you do that, it don't work, right? If it's created for single player and then you go in there and try to hack it up to make it work for multiplayer, it don't work that way, right? So that guy literally put a free template on the marketplace for sale. And then on top of that, he made that free template on the marketplace for sale even worse by trying to make it multiplayer. And Epic has had it on their marketplace for sale. And then they turn around and give it away for free. And it's a piece of garbage, which means Epic don't even check their stuff that they put on the marketplace. That's why I trash that project. It's not because I'm jealous of him. If I created that template, I would be ashamed of myself, literally. Okay, so, and now with that, where does that leave us? Okay, so let's go ahead and exit out of the engine here. And we will go delete those two projects. And we will talk just a little bit more about what I may or may not do. Okay, so I would still like to create, at a bare minimum, I would like to create another template. Maybe. If I could get that template to be unique enough to not compete with a template that I have already created, right? And it be something that I think people would use to start a game from. So it would be similar to my TPS basic, or it could be similar to my multiplayer FPS basic, but it would have to be a different style of combat, probably, because I've already created shooters. So what would be the point in creating another shooter template? So I don't know if there'll be a template created from this endeavor or not. I haven't decided yet, but I did want to make this video to let you guys know that I'm potentially thinking about doing something in the engine again, whether that be to create some tutorial videos, whether that be to create a new template for sale, or whether that be to create a actual game that I will put out for sale. Whether I'll do that or not, I do not know. There's a lot of research and stuff that I will have to do before I do that. What I do know is this. If I decide to do this, it is going to be a Tribes Firefallish style game. It's going to be. It's just going to be. That's what I originally got interested in creating games for in the first place. And I started the creation of said game and got derailed. So if I'm going to do this, it is definitely going to be a sci-fi themed Firefall Tribes-like game. Meaning battle armor, loadouts, jetpacks, laser guns, sci-fi weaponry, abilities on the characters, classes, light, medium, heavy, recon, juggernaut, engineer, whatever. And it's also not going to be PvP. It will definitely be a PvE style game, meaning a group of players together go take on AI. Okay? Various different kinds of AI, not just shooting AI, different kinds of AI. Okay? And it would be co-op. It will be small scale, meaning no dedicated servers, right? I'm not fooling with any of that stuff. It will be Steam, right? So in other words, it will be one player host a game and the other players join the game. I'm not dealing with creating dedicated servers, none of that stuff, right? It'll be a small scale, maximum of 10 players, probably more like 5 players together can go into a world, a quote unquote level, and wander around and take on enemy AI in some shape, form, or fashion. I don't believe there'll be any kind of resource gathering, crafting, any of that kind of crap. However, there will be ways to change out different weapons, meaning if you don't like the primary weapon you get, you can get this weapon instead. If you don't like the ability you got, you can get this ability instead. That kind of stuff. Small scale, right? I'm one person, so I would be doing all of it myself. All the coding, all the scripting, all the art, all the sound, everything would be done by me. So it would have to be small scale. Otherwise, it'd be 30 years, and I still wouldn't have anything. So there's that. Okay, so I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know that I'm not giving up completely yet on Unreal Engine game dev, but I did get the wind knocked completely out of me over the controversy that happened. And then on top of that, you know, not being able to generate very much revenue. Guys, look, you know, people get shit over this all the time. And I understand why, because a lot of it aggravates the hell out of me. Ads. I can't stand ads. I run an ad blocker. Very reason why my YouTube channel is not monetized. I can't stand ads. So if I can't stand them, why in the hell would I put them on my YouTube page? It's not worth it. Besides the fact that I don't have very many followers, I don't have very many subscribers, and so it wouldn't be worth it. It would be more trouble than it's worth. So the only ways that I have ever had to generate revenue in this industry is working for other people, or selling things on the UE4 marketplace, or selling tutorials. And that's it. Occasionally, some people would make a $10 contribution, just say, hey, here, go buy you a case of Mountain Dews or whatever. But it just wasn't very much. The only real money I ever made doing this was working for other people. I can't be working for other people and trying to make my own game at the same time. It takes so much time to work on other people's stuff, it leaves zero time for me to work on my own. If I work on only my own stuff, I don't get any revenue. So it's always been a struggle trying to monetize my endeavor. Always. And so, I don't know. I guess I'll let you guys know. I guess it really depends on whether or not this gets videoed and not just, hey, here's the latest update video. In other words, allowing people to watch me create this, whatever this is, from beginning to end. Like every day that I do work, I make a video. You guys can watch it come together from nothing into whatever it ends up being. Watch everything that I do, right? The only way that I would be willing to do that, it would definitely have to be monetized, okay? Meaning people that want to see that would have to pay to see it, okay? So there's still more to think about, and I'm not planning on doing any of this until after the first of the year, okay? It would be after the first of the year. So the beginning of 2023 would be when I would likely start to do this if I choose to do this. And so we would have to see if there's enough interest in people watching me do this. Whether or not I want to create the game is irrelevant. It would be if I want to take the time to actually video this so that you guys can watch everything. That's what would have to be monetized. I'm not asking people to pay for my game. Unlike some people, I will fund it myself, whether it's just my own personal time or if I have to buy some assets or something, I will buy them. Okay. Which, honestly, as much free stuff as there is available now, plus all the stuff that I've bought in the past, the only investment would probably be my time, right? Because, some of you guys have actually, you've actually looked at my library before, and, I've got millions and millions of assets in here, so I don't suspect that I would have to buy anything. I've got characters, plus you got all the characters that Epic gave away for free. You've got all their animations that are free that I could use. I've got all these different characters that I've bought in the past. So I don't think I would have to invest any money in this. It would just be my time. Okay. So maybe we'll do this, man. I don't know. But I did want to let you guys know that I'm definitely thinking about it. Whether I actually do it or not, I do not know. We will see. Okay? So let me bring Chad over here one last time. And then that'll be a wrap. So Ripper Junkie asks, in UE5? Maybe, maybe not. It depends. It's going to be for Steam. And as of right now, Steam is broken in Unreal Engine 5. So until that gets corrected, it would be a no. It would be a no. That it would not be an Unreal Engine 5. It would be an Unreal Engine 4. And if it's going to be an Unreal Engine 4, it would be an Unreal Engine 4.15, which is my version of choice. Okay? If I was to use Unreal Engine 5, I would have to use those advanced sessions plug-in thingamajig in order to get the Steam side of it to work. And if I have to integrate that into the project, well, then I wouldn't be able to sell it because it has someone else's stuff in it, right? And you can't resell someone else's stuff. So I don't know. That'd be a to be determined. And Emery says, sounds like you need a financial advisor. No, I don't need a financial advisor. I just need finances. I don't have a problem with money. I don't have any. So how could I have a problem with it? No, actually I do okay, right? I have other sources of income. I have also saved up a bunch of money. I'm not married. I'm not raising a family. So I live about $300 a month is all it requires me to live. My home's paid for, my vehicle's paid for, right? So I have very minimal expenses. So when push comes to shove, $300 a month is all I require in order to buy my groceries and keep my lights on. Everything else is paid for, which is a good thing because in this industry, if you're trying to make a living and raise a family and stuff, they're going to starve, right? That's all I can tell you. They're going to starve to death. All right. You have talent. You need to develop for 1 hour a day. If you make some money, you make some money. If not, you won't. Well, that's the way I've been. Either people will be interested and willing to throw me a buck here and there, or they won't. Right. So I don't know. Maybe I'll start out, filming it, videoing it. I say filming it, it's not filming it, right? It would be making videos. Maybe I'll start out and do a couple and just see what kind of interest gets generated. You know, I got a very small group here. I don't go Twittering, I don't go Facebooking, I don't go Instagramming, right? So it's really my own fault. The reason that I don't have any more followers than I do, I don't advertise, right? The only way that my videos ever get found is by accident most of the time. So I don't know, maybe I'll make a few in the beginning and we'll see if people share it. Hey, you should go check out this guy. And then that guy says, hey, you should go check out this guy. Maybe the community starts growing and then there ends up being enough people. Maybe there ends up being enough people that, you know, maybe I can generate a little money, right? I don't know. But I can tell you what I ain't going to do. Today's video is sponsored by Bespoke. Hey, do you need your hair fixed? No, I'm not doing any of that bullshit. Right? I'm not doing any kind of, hey, go join my Patreon page and get all this free content. Blah, blah. I'm not doing that. So if people do decide to do it, it will be of their own good nature and their own free will. I may mention it. Hey, if you like what you see here, click the PayPal link in the banner of my video or in the description and buy me a cup of coffee. I might do that, but I'm not trying to get any kind of corporate sponsoring bullshit like most of these people do. Okay. All right. Okay. So with that, you guys take care. This is John Galt, and we will see you in another video in another time. And maybe I will have more of these thoughts put together and come up with a game plan. But I did want you guys to know that I got to do something, right? I can't just sit here. I've got all this time invested in learning how to do things in this engine. I still know how to do it. I still learn new things and I still know how to do it. So I might as well do something, right? So we will see. So with that, you guys take care. Have a good Thanksgiving and we will see you in a different video. Have a good one.